Welcome to the DICOM Director instructional video series. This video will describe how to make a three-dimensional model using the DICOM Director portal. More specifically, this video will demonstrate the SeedGrow method for making a three-dimensional model. If you would like to learn more about navigating the DICOM Director portal or about other model making methods such as Threshold, please refer to those videos specifically. Let's begin. My first step in making a three-dimensional model is to determine which file I would like to use. By navigating to My DICOM Scans on the DICOM Director portal, I can view all files that I have uploaded to my portal. For this particular example, I will use my lung cancer file. By hovering my cursor over my lung cancer file, I make three dots appear in the upper right-hand corner of the file. If I click on these dots, I bring up this drop-down menu, from which I can then select Order 3D Model. This brings me to the model ordering page. From here, I can select which method I would like to use to make my model, which in this example is SeedGrow. My next step is to choose which CT scan within this file I would like to use. This particular file only has one CT scan, which I will select now. However, you may have files on your portal that have multiple CT scans within them, which would show up below this one image. Now that I have specified which CT scan I would like to use, I can also choose the range of images that I would like to include within my model. You can navigate through your CT scan or image on the DICOM Director portal by clicking along this sidebar. And as you can see, as I go down the sidebar, I move through the levels of this chest CT scan. So for this particular model, I would like to make a model of the tracheobronchial tree from approximately the level of the apices of the lungs to the bases. So for my purposes, I would like this level to be the first image used for the model. So now that I have navigated to the image that I would like to appear first, I will click Set First Image. Now I will navigate down this sidebar till I get to a level of the lung bases. So approximately this level should be adequate for the model that I'm trying to create. So now that I have navigated to this image, I will click Set Last Image. By doing so, I have told the software that I would like this model to include images 35 through 300 of this CT scan. If you decide that you'd like to change the range, you can press the Reset button and then reselect your options. Now I will turn my attention to these drop-down menus. This first drop-down menu allows me to indicate which area of the body I am making a model of. If your model does not fit into one of these categories, simply select the Custom option. Today I am making a model of the chest. Once you select an area of the body, this Select Segment drop-down menu will become active. Here I will press Add New to add a new tissue type as a segment of my model. I will type the name of my segment in this text box. In this case, since I am making a model of the tracheobronchial tree, I will type trachea as an abbreviation for myself. This box just to the right of the name allows me to select a color for my segment type in the finished model. This slider allows you to choose any color in the color spectrum so that you can easily customize which color you'd like to use for your model. Next, I can select a smoothing method. Simply unclick all the boxes if you choose not to use a smoothing method. You can also click multiple if you would like to use more than one. For the tracheobronchial tree, I have found that the morphological opening smoothing method works the best, so I'll choose only that option today. Once you have named your segment, chosen a color, and chosen a smoothing type, you can add this tissue type to a segment of your model by pressing this plus button. If you have added a tissue type by mistake or would like to delete a tissue type from your model, you can simply click on this trash can to remove that segment. It is also possible to make a model with multiple segments. For example, if I had chosen to also map the pulmonary vasculature in this model, I could type pulmonary vasculature, choose a new color, specify my smoothing method, and press the Add button. For simplicity's sake, we will only be using one tissue type in this model today, so I only need one segment. Now I can press close and begin making my model. The key to creating a seed grow model is to place markers called seeds throughout your CT scan. There are two types of seeds, positive and negative. We will place positive seeds in areas of the CT scan that we would like to include in our model, and negative seeds in areas of the CT scan that we would like to exclude. We will begin by placing a positive seed. First, I will make sure that the segment in this box is the segment that I would like to include in my model. In this case, the trachea. Next, I will click on this colored plus sign, which will appear as the color that you have selected for your model. Once I've clicked on this plus sign, I can move to my CT scan to place my first positive seed. Since I am making a model of the tracheobronchial tree, I want to place my positive seed inside the lumen of the trachea. So once I have my cursor inside the lumen of the trachea, I will double click to place my positive seed, which will appear in the color that you have selected for your model. Now to place a negative seed, I will click on the red minus sign, choose an area of my model that I do not wish to include in my final model. For example, this bone here, double click, and now I have dropped a negative seed. I can move this seed, if I wish to, by hovering my mouse over the seed until this crosshair with arrows appears, clicking on the seed, and then dragging it to different areas. For example, I can put it on the thyroid here. If I wish to remove a seed, I can simply hover my mouse over the seed again until the crosshairs appears, and then right-click on the seed. Now I will begin going through my CT scan slice by slice and placing seeds. Please note that for demonstration purposes, I have sped up the speed of this video 4x. So while the seed placing portion of this video lasts 3 minutes, it took me approximately 12 minutes to place the seeds necessary for this model. On my first pass through this CT scan, I am only placing positive seeds. I'm purposefully placing these seeds inside large bronchi so that the seeds are only touching the air in the lumen of the bronchi and not the walls of the bronchi or any other surrounding structures in the lung. From these few seeds that I am placing, the seed grow method will be able to make a model that maps bronchi and bronchioles much smaller than the ones that I am currently marking. Now that I have placed positive seeds in the bronchioles, I will begin going through the model and placing negative seeds in areas and tissues that I do not want to include in my model. When placing negative seeds, it is important to include a variety of different tissue types that you do not want included in your model. For example, you may have noted that in the past few slices, I have placed negative markers on blood vessels, liver, stomach, air in the lumen of the bowel, muscle, and bone. As I go through and continue to mark the negatives in this CT scan, I will share a couple other tips and tricks that I have found to be helpful with making seed grow models. First, you may have noticed that I am not marking every image of this CT scan. In order to create a successful seed grow model, it is only necessary to mark 35% of the slices. Since this particular model is 265 slices, I will have to mark approximately 93 of the slices to create a successful model. You may also have noticed that I am generally placing only 1 to 2 seeds per slice of the CT scan. In general, less is more with seed grow. For example, if I place a negative seed on a portion of the scapula, seed grow interprets that to mean that I want to exclude everything touching that point of the scapula that is the same density, which is in essence the entire scapula. Therefore, it would be redundant to place multiple seeds on the same portion of the scapula. However, as we approach either end of the CT scan, I will place slightly more negatives per slice, up to 4 to 5, because I have found that this helps to ensure a clean model. Once I reach the end of my CT scan, I will press Order Model. The model will process briefly, and then I will receive a message saying Model ordered successfully. When your model is completed, you will receive an email from the DICOM Director portal. Now your model is ready to be downloaded from the portal. We will go to 3D Models and then My 3D Models to view the model that I have just made. First in my queue under 3D Models is my lung cancer version 1 model. Version 1 indicating that this is the first time I have made a model of my lung cancer file. I will hover my mouse over this file, click on the 3 dots that appear, and then I can download my lung cancer file to view either through my laptop's 3D viewer or through an augmented reality or virtual reality device. This is the tracheobronchial tree model that I made during this video. You can view your model by using the preview application on Mac or by using the 3D viewer application if you have Windows. Now let's take a look at the model. Here you can see the trachea with the main stem bronchi going towards the lungs. If I zoom in on my model, I can actually enter the trachea. And now I have the same view that I would have if I was performing a bronchoscopy on this patient. In this plane, I'm also cutting through the lung, and you can see the tracheobronchial tree from inside of the lung. From the few seeds that I placed in the primary bronchi, the SeedGrow software was able to generate this detailed view of the tracheobronchial tree, showing multiple generations of bronchi. Thank you for viewing this DICOM Director instructional video on how to make a three-dimensional model using the SeedGrow method. Please contact us if you have any further questions.